calling.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
What happened? I missed it.
Amani, you good?
Sorry, I thought I was on mute, but when the time starts going down, you can't mute yourself until it starts recording.
Oh my gosh. Well, welcome in, y'all. Welcome in.
Hey guys, back with another episode. You already know the vibes. My name is Amani Ko.
My name is Tanaijah, aka D.
And it's your girl, Winter Joelle. Oh, I'm never doing that again. But hey, y'all.
And it's Tanaijah Jallana. I am going to be your host for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode of the group chat calling. We appreciate you guys being here with us, as always, every Wednesday, bright and early at 5:30. And y'all need to start listening right at 5:30. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, get them together. Get them together.
Today's conversation is kind of circulating around something that I've been talking about with a few people in my life really heavily lately. And it has to do with this whole narrative of the hustle culture. I truly believe that every generation in a way has adopted this ideology of the hustle culture, but I think that it has become this monster for our generation because you factor in things like social media, having easy access to a lot of things via the internet and things of that nature. So it has become this glorified thing that I think is causing our generation to experience burnout faster than any other generation. So I kind of just want to bring that to our platform and just kind of have this discussion, and hopefully we can help kind of shift some people's mindsets. I don't think that this is a healthy culture that we have adopted. I think there needs to be some things reevaluated. I think there's maybe some healthy practices there, but I think we take it a little bit too far. Time to dial it back just a little bit. So let's kind of just jump right in. I wanted to hear your ladies' opinions on the hustle culture at large. Yeah, just what are your thoughts about it?
I feel like that some people do have to hustle more than other people in this generation. Some people, not that they have handouts, but that they have more resources than other people. Some other people do have to hustle more, and that's okay with doing. Some people have to get it on their own, and that's okay too. But, there is like two sides of real hustle, and it's a hustle, but you got other people hustling with you or helping you,
I think that's very valid. I think, to Monty's point, the level of resource and privilege that you have just at your baseline or your default determines how much you subscribe to the hustle culture. I think those of us who come from lower income or middle income families are more susceptible to subscribing to that culture, because if you really think about what's being publicized on social media, it's never really, we don't see old money. Like, for the people who have old money,
so true.
We don't know they have old money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't tell you one old money influencer.
Me either.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think it's a lot, not only our people, speaking of minority people, but just anyone within that lower income to middle income that are kind of suffering more from that. And to Tanaijah's point of feeling as though our generation is getting burnt out faster due to this hustle culture, I 100% agree. Not only statistically speaking, the numbers have shown that is true. They haven't attributed it to hustle culture, but it has to come from somewhere. And I think that's a big proponent or component to the earlier burnout. But one of the arguments that I hear a lot from the older generations is that the younger generations don't do much of anything, right? But I want to argue that, right?
Please do. Please do.
For every hour of physical labor that you are putting in, we are putting in double the amount of time of mental load. We think faster, which also has been proven, and we is tired. And burnout doesn't come from your body breaking down. Burnout quite literally comes from your mental load being too full. So that's my 2 cents.
100%.
Sidebar, I do wish that this little thing had like a side chat that even when we're on mute, we could still talk to each other in like a chat on here. That would be really
I agree. Miss Picassola, you heard her. Get to work, Bookie. And if you need a project director, call me.
Mm-hmm. Winter Joel. You heard the name.
Yes. Yep, you heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I agree with everything that Winter said. I agree with what Amani said as well. I definitely do believe that there are levels to the hustle culture based upon, you know, what you have been exposed to, what your resources are. And also, of course, nowadays we live in a world, I mean, it's really always been that way, but especially now, it's just not what you know, is who you know. I think that it's a lot easier to kind of slip into that mindset. I saw something, it was a young lady ranting, that's usual, online, and she was saying, I don't understand the mindset of people who subscribe to the hustle culture, because there's no way that I'm working 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs for one roof that I don't even get to enjoy. And I was like, I actually feel that. Like,
no, literally.
I feel like that makes complete sense to me.
100%.
There's no way that I'm doing that, and I'm not enjoying the fruits of my labor in any way.
Mm-mm.
So,
but that is quite literally the goal. Like,
yes.
I'm working to build a life that I am proud of, one, but that I am happy living. If I never get to actually live that life, what is the entire point?
That's my question. Literally, though. Like, that's literally my question. What is the point? What are you doing it for? For them to say, yeah, she worked 6 jobs at your funeral? For what?
Girl, that's not the type of dying exhausted I'm trying to do. Like, I want to live a life. And I feel like there's a such thing as working smarter, not harder. And hustle culture doesn't teach that. And I feel like you learn that through trial and error, through going through the fire. But it's very, very unhealthy. I've done it. Like, I've literally worked 14, 16-hour days because I wanted to do this, and that. Can't tell you what I did with that money. I know it was gone, though. So what was the
Where
point?
is it? Right, for sure.
I feel like, okay, this is just my opinion, so I don't want to hear nothing if I'm wrong. I do feel like the reason why hustle culture doesn't teach us work smarter, not harder, is because it's definitely something. But if you are in a working class family, it's basically like hustle culture was like, it's a part of your norm, and it's basically forced. Earlier generations that were coming behind have always worked harder. So I think that plays a big part.
No, I get it. I hear you and I agree. But I also think that, building off of what you said, the modern day phrasing of the American dream. You work hard, you'll be able to achieve this, that, and everything that you can ever dream of, right? Complete and utter baloney. That's not how the world works. That's not how our country works. We live in a capitalistic country. You need to have money, but you also need to have time and resources. Working harder, hustling hard does not equate to you getting that payout, right? It's the same thing as the crisis that we're seeing with college degrees. Just because you go to college for 4, sometimes 5, sometimes 6 years and get your degree does not equate to you getting a job that's even paying you a living wage once you walk that stage. So it's literally the personification of the modern day American dream.
And yep. And college is another thing. Forced.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, yeah, go to college. That play all the answers. And now look, because they not in as much debt as we are.
I feel bad for the people that were forced to go to college. That's not my story. That was the thing I've always said. I wanted to go to college. That was something I wanted to achieve for myself. But I do know people whose parents were like, you're going to school or you out of here. You have no options. And I do genuinely feel bad for people who were put in those situations, because a lot of them who do that also haven't been to school and They just think, well, if you go, maybe you'll have a better chance than I did. But that's not the reality of the world that we live in, realistically. If it's a goal that you set out for yourself, go do it. Like I said before, make a plan and leave room for change, because maybe it's going to change. You have to shift and make it happen.
Sure. For sure.
That part, literally, you got to make something shake, baby. literally every semester.
And don't just go to college not knowing what you actually want to do, because you're going to end up going to college for 2 semesters and then realize that what you want to do don't even require you to even have a college degree. And then you still got to pay the student loan just for those 2 semesters.
Very true.
Yeah, it's true.
My rule of thumb when it comes to higher education is do it for you and know what you're doing it for, period.
Agreed.
Because even if you walk out of there without working in the field that you anticipated working on based off your degree, you will still find fulfillment. And I always say, even the classes that I only am taking or only have taken because it's a requirement for me to get this degree, if you are going to college for yourself and your goal is to be disgustingly educated, you are going to learn something in every room that you sit in. A lecture, not lecture, fully online, in a conversation, it doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, the rule of thumb that I have is go for you and know what you're going for, whatever I said when I first started the rant.
Right. Because for me, right now, I'm dealing with a situation where I wasn't notified, or no one ever basically put me on to what jobs I can get with my degree. The degree that I have now wasn't even my plan. It was just a last minute route, because that was already the route that I was going in, because I'm trying to go into nursing. And I ended up having to stick with the health science degree. And once I realized I actually wanted to do nursing, it was already too late in my college experience for me to even switch over to that, because then it would have been me having to go back into school for another probably 2 years or whatever the case may be. So it's like, I'm going to finish this undergrad and then I have to go back to school for nursing. So, and I think I guess I had a misunderstanding of my degree that I have now on what jobs that I can get. So I think that's also another thing. Like, if you're going into a degree, make sure you know what jobs you can get with that degree, because you're going to end up getting that degree and you're like, well, what jobs can I even get? I don't even know. I'm over here trying to apply to jobs and it's like, I need experience. Well, how am I going to be able to get experience if I'm not getting hired?
That part.
But I will say, I feel like based on a lot of the conversations we had before you made final decisions on what route you were going for your degree, a lot of what you did know was from someone that told you that you should be going that route, because your guidance counselor or whoever that, I forgot the terminology for the person what a guidance counselor was, basically giving you the wrong. Yes, there we go. Your college advisor was basically giving you the wrong information, or didn't really care enough about you to give you better advice as they're advising you. And it also put you in a position of where you are now, because like you've said in other episodes, you are first generation in college. So a lot of what you're learning is on your own and in the moment and from experience. So you do have to give yourself grace in this process, because you are doing the best that you can with what you're able to do. And you already know God favors us for real. So your plan is already on the right path, and it's moving the way it needs to. So you just give yourself grace, and it's coming. It's coming. Because I saw your story today. I was like,
I'm trying.
I was like,
Yo, today was so stressful. Like, I wanted to look at my mom and be like, because you are part of this.
I wish they could see the way she cocked her head to the side.
Wait a minute.
Because the only reason why I didn't get... Yeah, because the only reason why I didn't get this job was because I'm not bilingual. I'm not fluently bilingual.
Oh, all right. I'm going to exit out of this conversation.
Yeah, please. Okay. So I'm over here like, I'm thinking about to get this job, bro. I promise you, bro. I was this close to getting this job. Everything was checking boxes. I was checking boxes, about to get an in-person interview because it was a phone screen interview. And the last question, of course, it's the last question. I don't know why she saved it for last. She should have saved it for first because
I saved it for first.
I'm not understanding. Like, what?
Very pissed off about this, obviously.
I was so mad. When I tell you I was so mad, I didn't know if I wanted to cry, crash out. I was really about to crash out. Like, I'm like, bro, are you serious right now?
She said crash out was option number one. Great.
It was.
It was. If you know, you know. Because, girl, I was stressing today. Couldn't go to sleep. I felt like it was like first day of high school. When you can't go to sleep on the first day, you're so anxious. Like, I was so anxious for this full screen interview. I was praying to God, bro. I'm like, please give me this job.
All in due time. It just wasn't for you.
I was going to say, it just wasn't yours to begin with.
Literally, I think a lot more young women and men would find greater peace if they realized that every door that doesn't open just wasn't the house that they were supposed to be in. Like, point blank, period. And then you go on to, it's like house hunting. You go, this is a nice house. I could buy this house. But is it for me? When I get in here, am I going to feel comfortable or am I going to want to move in 2 months?
So true.
So give it time. Give it breath. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
But like all I've been doing is giving time.
All right.
But that's another story for another day.
Well, actually, what we've been talking about actually kind of leads us into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, still surrounding hustle culture. A lot of the feelings and emotions that you're describing, I think, are a lot of times the result of subscribing to this hustle culture mentality. You have this anxiety, this stress. It can even result in some physical, feelings that are not the best to your health. And I wanted to see if there was any personal experiences that you ladies were comfortable with sharing with our audience, maybe giving them, just a glimpse of letting them know that they're not alone. We have experienced this as well.
Not so much experiences, because I think that's going to take up, one experience might take up a whole episode to get through. But I do have some lessons that I've learned, right? To my core, I'm a go-getter. Like, my nickname at work has been Mrs. Make It Happen. I stopped calling myself a hustler because I'm just not hustling. I'm not hustling nobody. I'm not hustling nothing. Like, it's just, no. But throughout my professional career, because that's what I'm attributing hustling to, even though you can hustle in your personal life as well. It's not all about capitalistic gain. It's okay to hustle, but know what you're doing it for. But also know your limits. Hustling within reason is okay. Actually, it's good. If you don't got a little bit of hustle and bustle in you, baby, I don't know if I can really rock with you for real. Because that's just not my kind of person. Like, I need a person who want it. Like, iron sharpens iron, baby. I can't be around no dull sword. Okay? Moving on. So then the next thing is be mindful to who you give your ear. In regards to like a Monty situation or anybody who is younger in their formative years where they're starting to put together the building blocks of their life. For one, you have time. It's okay if you mess up, you make a mistake, have to start over, go in a different direction. It's cool. But I think a lot of young people, and this is something that I've seen time and time again, and I think I was the outlier in this situation. You get advice, and because it's coming from somebody who should know better than you take it at full value when it should only ever be taken at face value. You need to be able to go back and do the research and quantify and qualify it for yourself, because everything sounds good when it's coming with a kiss of sugar. But you need to make sure that you are not wasting your time and your energy. So that's that. Those are the lessons that I've learned. Also, I do want to reiterate, it's okay to hustle, baby. But do not subscribe to what is now known to be hustle culture. It is very unhealthy. You need to know your limits, because if you don't, you will burn out, you will crash out, you will crash and burn, and it will be pointless.
I feel like something that I can say is honestly F that job, because I feel like, no, for real, I started working at the age of 14. It was summer jobs, but I started working at 14. I was in a program here in Norwalk that was, first of all, it's a great program. You know how to do interviews at that age. They teach you, how you walk in, how you greet people, how you should present yourself. And it was honestly the best thing I did. And I did that throughout the summer. So I started working at that age. Since that age, I've worked. So a lot of times I saw, like, my mom, she would go to a job, she'll be working for a job that she despised, but still doing what she needs to do. So she's still working there. And then I see that. So then for me, I'm going to a job and, doing my due, feel like I'm working so hard. I feel like I genuinely am a hard worker, and I give like 110% when it comes to things that I'm doing. But I've learned that giving out all my energy for companies that really don't care led me into, like, basically assisted me with my burnout and assisted me with feeling like I'm not really trying to work and do nothing for nobody except myself. Because if I'm going to give 110% into something, I might as well do it into my own businesses and or my own things that I want to get done. So it's okay to leave a job. It's okay to outgrow a job, because not all the time when you're growing should you be stuck at the, in the same position when you're already 10 steps in advance from where you were last.
I feel like I don't even know what I feel. I feel like dealing with what I had to deal with and going to school and feel like I had to learn most of the stuff on my own. Not that I was most of the time being lazy or trying not to find like certain stuff on my own, but because I had so many people like in my ear trying to tell me not what to do, but what I should be doing or what could be a possibility of me doing. I kind of more so went with that. But sometimes, not even sometimes, you can't be listening to everybody, honestly. Most of the stuff that people were saying to me, I don't even know why I was listening to them. I really don't. And you already know one thing about it. I'm going to speak the truth on this podcast. I don't even know why I was even listening to them. Because look at me. Just look.
Girl.
You are fine.
You're right. Took the words right out of my mouth. You are fine.
I don't feel fine.
And that's...
We all go through it, baby. It's called growing pains. It is called growing pains. Listen, I have worked in the professional world for going on 7 years. And I just 2 weeks ago had a moment of, why is this my life? Why is this happening to me again? Like, what am I doing wrong? Girl, ain't nothing. Because I am not what? At work, okay? Her.
Right.
Her. And I can say that with my full chest. But we all go through it. And not for nothing, you were young and misled, so I blame them people too.
Yeah, I'm going to say, it's not, you really just didn't know any better. And I think everybody kind of through that, phase of their life where you just don't know any better. So you do lean and depend and trust upon those that, like Winter said before, you think they should know better than you do. And I think it's very important that we continue as, I'm going to call us and say we are going to be some leaders of our generation, and just kind of putting that out there.
Touch and agree.
That we are shifting their mindsets, those that are coming up behind us. Like, hey, like you said, listen, but verify. Listen, but verify. Listen, but verify. In all aspects of the word, it does not matter who it's coming from. Listen, but verify always.
Exactly.
Because it's your life that's on the line. It's your time that's on the line. So you have to make sure that whatever you are investing yourself in is going to produce fruit, and the fruit that you want. Don't go out here planting a peach tree thinking that you're about to get apples tomorrow. It's not. You didn't plant the right tree from the beginning. You started off wrong because you didn't verify. You just took the seeds and put them in the ground.
I need for y'all to open them ears. Open the ears. Keep going, but open the ears.
Prime example. When I told my mom about the reasoning on why didn't you think about me being bilingual. She want to be like, well, isn't there like a night class you could take? I said, well, I ain't gonna be fluent in 2 months.
Wait a minute.
Like,
again, I'm going to exit this conversation because that is my aunt.
He said, are you?
But a night class is crazy.
She said, you better get it how you get it. I said, I know you lying.
But again, but there's the hustle culture. But see, there's the hustle culture right there being perpetuated into the next generation. It's like, oh, well, you're going to have to figure this out. You want that job, right? Okay, now go become bilingual tomorrow. And it's like, actually,
let's be realistic with our timelines, people.
yes. Like, and then I was having this conversation recently and somebody said something. I was like, that's so true. It just feels like the older you get, it feels as though the days get shorter. And so it's like, I literally don't have enough hours in the day to try and figure out what my next steps are. And then also, in a way, backtrack. And Amani said she feels like it's backtracking because she should have been learning since she was a child. So that's a different story for a different day. But in that sense, I get what you're saying. But that is where it's perpetuated right there is, oh, you're going to figure it out. Like, get it how you get it, basically. And there are ways that we can set ourselves up for better success.
But I do agree with that to an extent.
I do. But again, like you said, to an extent.
I get it, but let's be realistic.
But like being bilingual in 2 months is crazy.
That's
let's
insane.
Be realistic. Come on.
That's insane.
Now, maybe if I was, and then she also claimed, well, she believes that her Spanish is not fluent Spanish. And I said, that's cap.
It's not. No,
It's not.
she does not. Your mom doesn't speak fluent Spanish.
But
she doesn't, but she
better than
got
what you
away with
speak.
it the way she spoke. The girl was like, oh, I could have went into the in-person interview and had somebody talk to me in Spanish. I would have banged that out. Any person, my mom will randomly see somebody in the store and they speak in Spanish. She all of a sudden hopping into the conversation because she know what they're saying.
That's good enough.
I can truly understand your frustration for sure. Like when we were growing up, no, seriously, when we were growing up, and my mom used to watch the house, and we would always ask her grandma to make us food, like make us rice and stuff. But Amani could never talk to her grandma in Spanish. So I would have to be the one to call her and be like, Grandma, we need some rice. Like, make us some rice. Because my mom would be like, no, we need Spanish rice to go with our meal, blah, blah, blah. So I would be the one calling and talking to her grandma because I'm the only one that spoke Spanish. So I definitely understand your frustration. But also, it's just because your mom didn't, like, there was no reason for her to speak it in the house. You know, like, her husband doesn't speak Spanish. You know, there's no point for her to practice it in the house for you to pick up on anything.
Her
so
kids
that's
don't
really why you
speak
didn't.
Spanish.
Exactly. Nobody speak it.
Right, but we
So
could have.
you need
we
to-
could have.
Okay, but don't be
She
doing
could
my
have.
aunt.
And I'm not doing her, but what I'm saying is, she when I asked her why she never spoke to me as she spoke to me in Spanish or taught me Spanish growing up, because she want to be like, because there was no one I could talk to that spoke Spanish. Well, I mean, we're kids. Obviously, we're not gonna respond to you right then and there. But the brain of a young child.
Yeah,
It
they
is
didn't
easier
know
to
any
learn a
better
language
though.
as a child. Yes, I get what
Yeah,
you're saying.
but they honestly didn't know any
Not
better. And this is a
everyone knows
conversation that
that.
I have. This is a conversation that I've had many times, especially working in or having had worked in education. Many parents or native speaking parents do not speak to their child in their native language because they didn't want for them to be delayed in school for any reason. But we know now that that's not necessarily true. When children are bilingual, like from birth, they've been spoken to at home solely in Spanish, they pick up English almost just as fast because they're hearing it all day in school. But again, knowledge is power, and not for nothing, they thought that they were doing the best thing for their children. And some just, like, man, don't nobody else here speak Spanish, so what I'm gonna speak Spanish for y'all to be looking at me
They
like
didn't
I'm
find
stupid?
it valuable at
Like-
the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
they just didn't see the value in it. Whereas
Selfish,
now,
just
baby,
selfish.
you
Oh
need
my
to know more
God.
than one. You need to know more than one language. I promise you, my
And
You
before-
will always
child
have a job.
will be bilingual. Yes, for sure.
And
I'm not playing.
before the comment, the viewers, listeners, gonna say, "Oh, well, it's my fault too." I did take a Spanish class in high
Girl.
school And that turned out not that turned out not so good, but not because I got a bad grade. I got an A in that class, but the teacher just wasn't a good teacher. Like these schools need to start hiring like teachers that are actually going to want to teach you. Like I promise you, that was probably not probably the only one, but one of the most interesting classes that I actually wanted to take and actually wanted to learn. Like, and this guy was giving us the answers. Like, it's just ridiculous. It just
plainly wasn't teaching.
She said there was no benefit.
Like, no
That's
benefit whatsoever. I mean, the A was, but like,
oh, we love that.
Right.
Boost the GPA a little bit.
I feel like I learned a little something, but not enough to take the second version.
Give us a little taste. What you learn?
¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo está? Bienito.
It's the face. Girl, you almost there. Just keep on going. Download Duolingo.
Too much.
Right. Get Rosetta Stone.
I'm about to get that. You know that thing you ever seen on social media that they created an earpiece where in any language that they speak,
it translates it. Yes, I saw that.
Girl,
My mom was like, "Oh, you should have ordered that." She said, "You should have ordered that." I said, "Now, what if it was a malfunction in the interview?" And I'm over here like, don't even know what to say.
Now she's giving you all these other solutions.
You cannot be playing with people's lives and don't even know what they're talking about. Like, no, there's just no way. I said,
yeah, I'm not even about to set myself up like that. And it's so crazy because come to find out, one of my mom's friends, she works in the same company. So now I'm like, dang, I wish I would have known that you would have worked in the same company because you could have easily told me, well, girl, you need to be bilingual. I'd be like,
well, let's just commend the growth because like 10 minutes ago, we were talking about taking advice as if it's sage and it's not. You heard that and said, yeah, not doing that. Great decision. Great decision.
Yeah. I didn't set myself up like that. I already set myself up a few times thinking it was going to go my way and it ended up going the highway.
Ended up going the highway is crazy, but facts.
Crazy.
That'll happen to you. That'll happen.
No, it's so true.
Moral of the story is don't listen to everybody. Sometimes you got to figure this stuff out on your own and that's okay too.
Yes.
Yeah. It is okay.
Yes, that's okay too.
These things. It really is. Hearing you talk about just kind of, being in the workforce and things like that and figuring out that whole beast that it is made me think about relating back to something that I've said, and I've said it multiple times about making a plan and leaving room for change. I think also within the hustle culture, I have witnessed, especially in this season, I've witnessed people obtain positions that they have been dreaming for, and it has, finally came into reality. And then being in that situation and realizing the amount of sacrifice that comes with these types of positions is just not worth it to them. Again, different strokes, different folks, So I could obtain the thing that I thought was going to bring the most joy and fulfillment into my life. But if I arrived there, and I think this is really what I want to drive home, if I arrived there into that space, I really want people to know that it is okay to then decide that thing that you set out to do, if you arrive there and it is not fulfilling your life in terms of, you may make great money. You may be able to provide, for yourself, for those around you. And that is great. But that can't be, for some people it is, but I just feel like realistically and holistically, that just cannot be the only thing that you take away from this thing called life. It is okay to walk away from that thing that you thought was your dream if it does not serve you in all aspects. It really is. Sometimes we do have to pivot. I don't believe that what I'm doing right now was never in the cards, ever. Ever. But I'm here and I'm like, this is the best. This job was made for me. Like, it had my name written on it from the beginning. It was developed and molded for me to be able to walk into it and do exactly what I'm doing. And I just never thought it would, but it fulfills me in so many ways. Now, this is me being very transparent. Money-wise, is it exactly at the numbers that I want? No, it's not. It's truthfully not. Am I making something that I could work with? Yes, I am. But I have the flexibility to also be able to chase my dreams that are outside of the corporate space as well. I'm able to look at multiple business opportunities and take on these things. So in a way, I am still flexing in that hustle culture space, but I was able to create this environment where it's still healthy and safe for me. I'm still figuring out how to balance it all. And I think that's another conversation that I want to kind of touch on is, what does balance look like? What does it look like in your everyday life? What does that look on a month-to-month basis? What are some practices that we can maybe impart upon these good people to take home with them and practice to create a life of balance while still chasing your goals, but being mindful about your self-care?
I really, really like that question. And here's why. I have entered into a season of my life where not only do I, do I prioritize peace, but I cultivate it also. So I'm no longer in a space where, because I've always been a person who searches for peace in all things. I don't do the rah-rah, I don't do the chaos, I don't do the drama, never been me. Right? Never been my body. But now if I'm in a space where it does not exist, I will create it in that space, or, right, follow me, leave the vicinity entirely. Because it's not a if you can't beat them, join them type situation. No, baby. If you can't beat them, I'm going to catch you on the next battle. I say that to say, for me, finding balance has really transformed, because a lot of people think that balance is 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of family time. That is very militant, right? And if you are somebody like me, some people that may work for you, if you're a person like me, having those set parameters, if you feel as though you're stepping out of the parameters, you feel as though you're failing, or you feel as though you're not achieving balance. And also, I never truly felt balance when I was subscribing or practicing that, right? Moral of the story is different strokes for different folks. To me, balance is a matter of, okay, it's like playing that, what's that pebble game where you pick up a pebble, move it to Mancala. It's like playing Mancala. When one pot is full, you pick up the stone, baby, and move it to the next. So when I feel like I'm doing too much at work, all right, that pot is getting a little over full. I'm going to pick up one of them stones and move it into you need a glass of wine and some Bobby Womack in your house with nobody around you. When my homebody pot is getting too full, pick up one of them stones. All right, the girl said they wanted to have a girls' night. You going to go to that girls' night. You might not want to, but you gonna go because you've been in this house too much. You're gonna stir crazy. It's about listening to yourself and your intuition. Your body will tell you what you need. When you are feeling overwhelmed, and that can be from too much silence, too much noise, being too busy, whatever the opposite of busy is, your body will tell you that you need to change. And if you listen to it, you'll find balance, right? That's the first thing. Then the second thing for me is discernment. Not every opportunity is your opportunity. And the quicker you learn that, baby, listen, the quicker you learn that, the easier your life will get. You no longer stress about things that are not for you. So those are my two things. Listen to your intuition. And I'm not talking about with the men, them too. We already know that.
Just at me.
All of a sudden, you, Wookie?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about it later.
But I want to piggyback off of something you said really quick before the other ladies go. I wanted to say about opportunities. Even when opportunities are presented to you that feel like they fit so perfect, don't get caught up on saying yes to every opportunity, because just when you pass up on one, it doesn't mean that it won't circle back. I think a lot of times we get so grabby with opportunities because it's like, oh, if I don't say yes right now, I'm never going to get this chance again. But if it is yours and if it is aligned with the will of God and what he has created, for you, it's going to come back. And it's going to be at a time where you are prepared and ready to say yes and take on that opportunity full-fledged. I think we get caught up in snatching up these opportunities so quick. And it's like, baby, you don't have the time. Now you're out here stressed, can't sleep, can't eat because you said yes to something and it wasn't the time for you to take on that opportunity. So don't be afraid to pass up on some because it's going to circle back if it aligns with the will of God, for sure. Every time.
Yes, ma'am. And we move in the spirit of abundance and overflow over here, baby. We not grabbing onto nothing because we're afraid it's not going to come back. It's going to come back tenfold. Eat that, hold that.
And it will.
And I want to circle back on when we were talking about not like listening to people all the time, because I was in a situation where I felt like an opportunity came to my lap and, certain people, I'm not going to speak on names, but certain people were in my ear basically telling me, I have to take this opportunity. Like, I have to take it. And I'm like, I felt a little overstimulated and anxious because I'm like, dang, like, do I really have to take this? Like, I really had to sit there and think about it. And I was this close on taking it, but something just told me to not take this opportunity, even though it felt like this was the only opportunity that I had. Something just told me not to take it. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't take it. But then there's always those thoughts in the back of my head, like, dang, like it's kind of been a minute since I've had an opportunity like that fall in my lap. But don't expect for when that next opportunity comes around, don't expect for it to be so quick to come back around. Like, it's going to take time.
Piggybacking off of what Amani just said, it made me think of a specific experience that I had when I first moved to Georgia. I left a job that I loved at the time. I was also in a position of being offered a promotion at the time. And I had only been there for 3 months. And then I said, psych, actually, I'm moving. I'm leaving Connecticut. Sorry, can't take it. So when I left, I went through a stint. I've discussed this before, about like 6 months, not working. I left thinking that I was going to transition with the company, but their other home base was about 2.5 hours away from where I live. And so that just didn't pan out the way I wanted it to. So of course I started applying to jobs locally around the area that I'm new here. So I'm just kind of searching online. And I got a little ping back. I got interviewed by this company. I enjoyed the men that I spoke with, but then I sat in that office and that man told me you only get 1 paid vacation a year. And I said, huh? And so in the moment at first, I was about to be like, okay, well, I have no choice. Again, hustle culture mentality. It was like, I have no choice. I need money. I got to make something shake. I'm going to be miserable here because I know myself. I'm going to be miserable here. I have to show up in the office every day. There's no flexibility whatsoever. I get 1 paid vacation a year. It just was, the math wasn't mathing for me. But I was heavily considering it. Like, I came home, I spoke with a couple people about it. I spoke with my mom about it. I spoke with my partner about it, and everyone was just like, are you actually considering this? Like, this doesn't even sound like something
this is not you.
Enjoy.
This is not you.
Yeah.
I
what?
vividly remember telling you that is absolutely insane. Every word that came out of that man's mouth was insane.
Because it's like in that moment, you feel like you got to do what it do in that moment.
I have no choice.
The money.
Yeah,
it's
it felt
not
like I had
worth
no choice.
it, though. It's not
like
worth
that.
it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting to. It's not worth it. I am so grateful that I passed up on that opportunity. But if I would have subscribed to that mentality of that opportunity is not going to come back and I have to make something shake. I need to make money right now. I wouldn't have left space for a couple months later. I got a job that I worked fully remote. And if you were in my life the last 3 years when I worked that job, you know, I was everywhere and anywhere on the clock.
Was on that road, baby. She was on that road.
We were outside. We was in the bars and she's on her computer working.
I mean, lived life, okay? Fully, to the fullest.
And did,
So
because Alex Lounge saw us.
Yes, they did. On a weekday, like literally. So I'm just saying that to say that the opportunity does circle back around, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be even better than the one that you thought you were going to have to sacrifice so much for. So yeah, that just kind of made me think about that. And I just want to share that and just kind of let people know, you know, it does happen. We do get in situations where it feels like our back's against the wall. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and there's no other options but to take what's in front of us. But there are options. And obviously, it does make it easier if you have a support system. I'm not negating that. I'm not negating that if you are somebody who's fortunate enough to have the resources around you to be able to lean and depend on them, that it makes it easier to pass up on those opportunities. I know some people, you know, don't have some of the things that I have. I have a very supportive mom. Even though I'm not a child that tends to lean on that as much as some others may, I do know that if it really came down to the get down, I have somebody that I can call. Not everybody has that out. So I understand that it feels as though if you don't have that type of support system, it's so much easier to just be like, I got to do what I got to do, and the rest will shake out later. And maybe that may be true, but I just kind of wanted just to encourage somebody that don't succumb to situations just because you are afraid of the next thing.
So from another point of view, I actually worked a job during COVID. So I had a friend that basically put me onto this job, and it's definitely, again, it was a job that I did not think that I was ever going to be doing. So basically, it was a data entry job in a company, and I worked this job through COVID. And then there was another outbreak, so I ended up moving from office to home. And that was a great time for me, you know, because I'm working from home, whatever. But it's definitely doing data entry stuff that is boring and not my tea at all. So I'm working this job and I absolutely hated it. And it wasn't because of what I was doing. It's because of the people I was working with. I was in a department with older women that worked at this job for years. And, you know, they're seasoned. They're very much that older class that doesn't really like change. They like to just stay and do what they want to do and basically have issues. And what I've heard is that they tended, at least this one specific woman, had issues when there was new, you know, people in their department. So I worked this job and this woman was so rude to me all over data entry. Like, it's not like we're doing surgery, open heart surgery, like things that actually matter. Like, it matters for the company, yes, but it was data entry. Like, it was the bottom of the barrel and the company that worked its way up. And this woman was the worst person I've ever worked with in my entire life. And I absolutely despised working with her. And I wasn't first of all, I'm just not the type of person that just lets people say and or do anything to me without hearing what I have to say about it. So I don't think that really sat well with her either. But when I tell you I worked this job, went through COVID, you know, there's a lot going on. We're shut down. We're in-house. I'm freshly like in my own apartment, things like that. It's just so many different changes. I'm working a job because I definitely need the money and things like that. We finally get back to office where it's more like a hybrid. I go into work and I work half a day. I'm about to go into lunch and the HR lady pulls me into the room and basically tells me that my position is being taken over by robots or people in India that can easily do my job. And when I tell you, I burst into tears. Like, I was sobbing, but like the happiest tears, like I was crying. And I know she was looking at me like, oh, like I feel bad. I looked at her and I go, that is the best news I've ever heard in my life in the past couple of years. I said, this job was absolutely awful. And I went in. I was like, the people, those women here are they are ruthless, disgusting, just such a, they made me not want to do my job. I went off. I spent a good 10 minutes with happy tears telling her about how awful that woman is. And she was so awful, I can name her Gertrude. And I'm sorry to anybody whose name is that, but I feel like that matches the vibe. But
I think it fits.
She was just horrible. And to me, one, I'm a Black woman. So she's also a Black woman. At the end of the day, we should be having each other's backs in a company full of majority that it's not a minority company. Like, we are in the bottom section of this large company, and it's 3 Black women, and you guys are trying to fight me over entering data into a computer. I don't know why you are sitting at your house working from home and worried about what I'm doing on my computer working from home in a whole different town. Like, that's the stuff that I just didn't understand. Like, she really, I feel like she hated me, and I never even met her. Now, the other woman I met, because we actually were in office. When I met her in office at first, that other lady stayed home. She never came to office because of COVID. She didn't want to. So I never even met this woman. Like, it's someone I didn't even met, and she brought HE double hockey sticks to my life in that span of time. And that was the best thing. Like, that was the first time I ever gotten fired, but that was the best thing that it has ever happened to me. I felt such a relief. I literally left. I think I called Tanaijah. I know I called my mom. I know I called a couple people like, y'all, I got fired. But I am so happy because I can actually breathe. Like, I was able to breathe because I was like, oh, I want to quit, but I also don't want to make my friend look bad because he basically got me this job. You know, I didn't want to put any bad tastes on him. So I was just holding myself back. But I was like, this is not for me. And God was like, it's all right. I know it's not for you. Here you go. And handed me my out. And that was forever grateful for that. That was amazing. That was the best thing still to this day when it comes to a job that has ever helped me. I've had some moments where people just played with me when it comes to work. So yeah, it happens. It's okay to leave. Even if it's the best thing. The job was amazing. The pay was great for data entry. I had holiday pay. I had after 3 months or something, you get a raise every 3 months. It was great. It was actually really good benefits all. Nope, I don't want to do it because this one person made it so awful for me. I was like, I had to get out of this. So yeah, it's okay to leave the job, and better things are coming and will, or are probably at your door. You close one door and you're opening the next. But if you're holding that door, you're holding the handle and not closing it, you're just standing in the doorway, you're probably missing something that could be waiting for you right on the other side. So close it. That's all I got to say.
No, that is so true. I think that a lot of times we follow and chase the idea that hard work is actually supposed to be hard. And I don't know if that went over some people's head, but you can work hard and it not be the most miserable thing you've ever done in your life. So find something or somewhere, or whether even if it's just creating a work-life balance, whatever that looks like for you, but find that place that you are still working toward whatever your goals are, but you are being fulfilled in other areas as well. Whether that's spending time with your families, a family, loved ones, friends, whatever. Whether that's going to the gym, whether that's cooking you a meal at home instead of eating out every night because you just feel like I got to get home and go to sleep. I don't have time to cook. Whatever it is, you have to create enough separation that you are still being a human. Because what fun is it to achieve these things, and the only thing that they can say about you when you're dead and gone is that they worked really hard. I want them to say, she traveled the world, she saw 80 countries, I want them to say that I lived the most vibrant life and that my husband and my children were just, the happiest people on earth. Like, I want them to say some very colorful things about me in a good way, because colorful could always mean something else. The good, colorful stuff. I want them to say some positive things about me just living a full life. That is truly what I desire. And I just know that there's a crowd of people out there like me who desire the same thing, but you also have very large and ambitious goals. And I'm just here to, be a testament that you can do that while still staying sane. You can do that while still creating a space where you are being fulfilled in multiple areas and not just your professional one. You just have to find, what does that look like for you? And I think even just hearing us all talk, it looks different for all of us, but we're all chasing the same thing right now. We are all trying to get to a place where we're living worry-free. And when I say that in terms of the hustle culture, obviously we're talking about work and professional life. It's like, oh yeah, I want to be able to do the things that I want to do without worrying about what's in my bank account, without worrying about debt, without worrying about all of those things. So of course we want to get ourselves into a position where we aren't worrying about that. But just be smart about it. Be mindful about it. Take care of yourself. Do some mental check-ins with your peers. This morning I had one with Winter. She called me and she was like, well, how are you? She asked me like 3 questions and I was like, busy, 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 and busy.
I'm definitely the rapid fire question friend. We might not talk every day, but when I get on the phone, I'm gonna get them out quick. How are you? How you doing? What you been up to?
Like, that's literally how it went. I was like, busy, 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 busy. I'm actually walking to a meeting right now. Let me call you back later. Like, literally, that's exactly how it went. Oh, so I get it. Like, I am in that space right now where I am trying to get a lot of things off the ground at once. And that might sound so hypocritical because we're having this conversation and I'm like, don't do too much. Don't stretch yourself so thin. But that's why I'm saying I am trying to figure out balance. So even through this conversation, I am, going to take some key points away for myself and start applying them, because I've got big goals, baby. It's millionaire tea is on the way, period. So smart about it.
Yes. Talk to him.
Try to be smart about it.
Yes, yes.
Definitely smart about it.
No, but to your point, I will say that as a whole, my opinion on hustle culture is I don't like the culture of it, but I'm a go-getter. But you have to know your limits. And that's why I don't like hustle culture, because it's portrayed as if there is not supposed to be any limits. You eat, breathe, sleep the hustle. You eat, breathe, sleep, whatever it is that you're working towards. And I think there's 2 layers to that. Yes, but that's your passion. You should eat, breathe, and sleep your passion. And that's innately in you, right? And then my second point is, it's okay if that's who you are. Because see, Monday's my favorite day of the week. Oh, y'all ready to work now? Because I was working Saturday and Sunday too, but y'all ready?
Right.
Y'all here? We on the same page? Let's get into it. Like, if that's you, by all means, I just still say that you need to follow your intuition and listen to yourself, because even the natural born hustlers need to refill their cup. Right. And then also have discernment about what hustle is yours. You can't be following every trend, every get rich quick scheme.
Please.
And then also working day in and day out. But that's not you. If you a lazy girl, be a lazy girl, because not for nothing, lazy people figure out the most efficient way to get things done.
Okay, wait. I just want to say, because I need to figure out how the people with no jobs who really just be chilling are living these lavish lives. Can y'all put us on, please?
Put us on.
If you are one of those people, give us the game. I'm really trying to figure it out, because a lot of y'all,
I just want to know. It might not work for me personally, because I need to be doing something that fulfills the facts.
You move in, you're moving to these nice apartments. I just want to know, what's the tea? Like, is it the sugar daddy thing? Like, just let us know. We're just curious about how this lazy girl thing is working. Yeah, like what's the method? Okay, I'm
Right,
sorry.
right.
Because I'm genuinely curious and I'm really hoping that somebody gives us an answer. Okay, great.
Yeah, just a little 2 cents. I say you don't got to give us all the tea, but I'll pay for it because I really do want to know.
Shoot, it's probably some illegal stuff. That's why they ain't gonna tell us. Shoot.
Oh, go ahead. Facts.
They ain't gonna tell us. They ain't trying to tell us because it's gonna be some illegal stuff. And listen, sometimes they know some people you feel like, but some people like, you know. So listen, if it has to do that, just hit us in a DM. We won't expose you. But you can
at all. At all. I might not get with you, but I'm gonna support you from afar, baby. And I got a couple friends who might get with you. So, you know, if they rich, I'm rich. That's all I got to say.
So before we wrap the conversation, I wanted to pose one more question to you guys. And those of you who are listening, drop some responses in the comments, in the review section, in our DMs, all of that stuff. But what's something, whether it's one thing or multiple things, that you feel as though you have sacrificed during your season of the grind, get into a bag, whatever you want to call it? What's something that when you look back, you realize I sacrificed these things and maybe I should have been, you know, more mindful of it, or whatever that may be?
For me, it's 2 things. Part of me feels like I didn't sacrifice anything because I personally like the grind, right? Like, I got a lot of ambition, big goals, and I'm gonna make it happen, period. Like, that is my standard for myself. And because I have set that standard for myself, I'm doing whatever it takes to get there. And so I feel like it's the people around me that have had to sacrifice, because even if I'm present, my brain really isn't in the room with them. My brain is on, all right, where am I at on this journey? Am I closer than I was yesterday? Am I closer than I was 3 months ago? If not, that's a problem for me. And if I am, okay, how can I get closer to that, you know, goalpost, right? So that's the first thing. But on the flip side, really looking back and kind of reassessing everything, I feel like I missed out on or sacrificed a lot of relationships. And I'm not talking romantic relationships. I mean relationships with my friends, with other family members. And by friends, I really mean the 4 of y'all plus the added, you know, individuals I can count on my fingers, because I've missed out on things. Prime example is Summer Jam. The reason I wasn't there is quite literally because I was working. I had already paid for the ticket, but I made a commitment because I was moving. And this was before I told y'all that I was moving. All anybody knew was that I was working dumb hours. I worked an office job, and then I went to quite literally work in the ER at night. And I had already made a commitment to work overtime. And so a part of my work ethic and my sense of responsibility is if I say I'm going to do something, I have to do it, or else it eats me up. So I felt like it would be crazy for me to call out of OT. Like, I didn't have to be there in the first place, but I signed up to pick up OT. And there was no way that I can really get out of it because they would have 100% been shorthand. So I ended up giving my ticket away.
Wait a minute, because if I'm being completely honest, I didn't. First of all, I had no idea it was because of work. I literally just thought that you just didn't want to go no more, because that's like something. That's like something you would not want. Like, you would not want to do that anymore. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't think of it as you had something else to do, or you were had other obligations. I also thought it was because of our transportation. Like, we were taking the train there, but then we were going to get a ride back home from family. So I thought you didn't want to, like, get in the car and ride back. But also that was, like, the best option, so we didn't have to take 4 trains to get back home. So I never even knew your point of view in it being of that. I genuinely was like, oh, dang, she didn't want to come anymore because of our last minute change on, like, how we're getting back.
Yeah, so honestly, what I will say is special shout out to Winter Joelle, kudos to Winter Joelle and giving me the ticket last minute. I appreciate you dearly, but I do wish that you was there because a time was had. I would have been sad too, because if I was Winter, I would have been looking at the stories like, dang.
First of all, that is so insensitive.
Don't do too much.
No, me, because I honestly wasn't even planning to go to summer gym at all.
No,
Like,
you
I didn't even know
weren't.
that you guys were
You
even
weren't,
going to
and
summer
we
gym.
invited you.
Oh,
And
I don't even know what
invite her.
did
happened.
know.
You did know. So the morning of summer jam, Winnie told me and Tay that she did not want to, like, she wasn't going to come anymore. So we're like, we have to wake up Amani to go. We're up. Me and Tay already planned to go to the mall. So we were going to the Trumbull Mall to look for an outfit and stuff like that. So we were going to be up the way. Amani lives up the way. So we were trying to call her car, blowing up her phone, no response. I literally called her brother and I was like, you need to wake her up. He's like, she's about to be mad at me. I said, I don't care. She's going to be happy after she knows. Wake her up and tell her she needs to wake up and get ready because we're picking her up. And then she finally called us back. She's like half asleep. We're like, you need to get prepared. Like, we're going to come pick you up. And I was in my little busted Passat.
But we didn't pick her up though. She ended up coming down to Norwalk.
I thought we picked her up.
Yeah, no,
I
she
think I
met
took
us.
the train. I took the train
Yeah.
to Norwalk.
Oh,
Yeah,
so then
and
we
that's how
just
you know it
hopped
was
on the
last
train
minute, 'cause
together?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, dang. Well, we woke her up. I thought we went to pick her up, though, like before. Well, me and Tanita were so excited. Me and Tanita were so excited that we went to the mall and we were there before it opened. Like, we got there.
Yeah, we actually were.
We drove there
Yeah, we
thinking
were. I
that,
forgot
it's
about that.
the mall should open by like 8 or 9. Like, we were trying to go early, make sure we have a
9,
fit so
yeah,
we
we got
can
there
get
early.
ready.
Well, it
We
was
get there.
open. The stores
It
weren't
was open. The stores aren't open, yeah, on Sunday. I guess it didn't open till 10 or something like that. So we had to wait in there. So we spent that whole hour of waiting for the stores to open. We spent trying to wake Amani up to get her to get ready to come. And then we took 4 trains to get to MetLife.
We did not take 4. She dragged it. It's only 2. She really
I just
did drag
remember
it.
it being a long process, okay? I just remember the process
long
being long.
because we got off
walked.
the train in Grand Central. We walked through Times Square because I wanted to get different pants. So we stopped in Times Square. I changed. Then we walked to Penn Station and then took that train. So it did feel like a long... Oh, and
But
then
we
when we got
also
in the
planned
train
to
station,
walk.
we stopped at the store. Yeah, like we already had a
Yes,
plan.
we
but,
did. Oh,
so
yes.
that's why it felt
We did have a
long.
plan.
Yeah. So it felt long, but she dragged it. It was not 4 trains. I promise you. If any of you have ever been to MetLife, you know it does not take 4 trains to get there. I promise. This is turning into FaceTime with the chat, but it is fine. It is fine. Y'all are the fam. This is what we wanted. We wanted to bring you guys into, our real life conversations because this is how it goes. But nonetheless, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I really pray that someone who is out there subscribing to the current day version of the hustle culture, that you get something from this, that you take a beat, you evaluate your situation, evaluate your environment, and you make some changes and you start paying attention to your body, your heart, your mind, your soul, all of those things. Take inventory and do what is necessary to get to a healthy place. As always, we will see you guys next week. And thank you again, always, for joining the call.
Nice chatting with you, groupies.
Bye. Thanks for hanging with us on Group Chat Calling. Ready to make it official? Join the group and be a part of the convo every Wednesday. Hit that follow button so you never miss a call. Catch you next week.